part of this industry and then come to a place where it's celebrated like this?
Yeah, it's amazing. The biggest thing for me, it's the biggest show in the country.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have a nice little booth here
Yeah.
and be able to spread the love with everybody. And
I think what you guys are doing here, obviously Alliance, but was excited to be a part of it. But more selfishly, I'm excited. I'm watching you guys from our little corner of the world in Rochester. I don't see any other podcasts. I don't see any. This is, if an industry that can put on a show like this needs this, right? This is a medium that there's podcasts about fantasy football. There's podcasts about you name it, right?
Yeah.
So it would be, we'd be remiss to not have a podcast for this space. You guys fill that thing. You do it well, you know?
I think the thing, too, is you can have a podcast, but I think we sit in this, in the spot, right? The spot where we could promote every manufacturer.
Yep.
We can help educate all of our contractors, right?
Yep.
And then we could travel around the country with contractors that are big influencers that are doing big jobs, or not even big jobs, just big influencers that all our guys locally are looking up to. And what are they using? What products are they using? Well, they're using porcelain, they're using Alliance, they're using this, they're using that. Well, you can get it at Sensenig's Landscape Supply, So you can be these guys that you see on social media.
100%. You guys have really gone. I remember the Lucas Lagoon episode.
Oh, dude.
I felt like you guys were having the president on there. That was big. You know what I mean? It was like, because that's a guy we all see on TV.
Yes.
We all watch that. That's and to get a little bit insight, have that comfortable conversation where you can pick his brain, not from the this is produced by the Home and Garden Network.
Right.
This is more of an intimate conversation. That's incredible.
Dude,
You know
I
what
was
mean?
nervous going in. The guy, he's just a regular guy like me and you.
Right.
Dude, I wore a golf shirt to that podcast.
Yeah, all buttoned up. Yeah. That's it, dude. I think what you guys have done with this, and I think, we're missing Chris down here, but I think you and Chris have the perfect. Joe, you've been in the industry for how long?
Yeah, since '88.
Jeez, bro. That's what I mean. I forget sometimes, like, because I've been in it for a while now.
Yeah.
But all that time in the industry, all the things that you've seen come and go, that's invaluable.
Yeah.
I meet these guys out here. You meet, they're 25. They're getting started. They're buying them a Bobcat. Them and the 3 guys crew. You know.
Yeah.
Those guys can learn from that 20 plus years that you've got in the industry. You can learn so much. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that because I've seen a lot of guys come and go. Contractors, right?
I bet.
But I've seen a lot of guys just stay and do very well. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? In that period of time, since high school.
Yeah.
Since high school, I've been in the industry.
Guys
you know
who
what I mean?
are getting started, who are now in our market, these are pillars of the industry.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of them are here today. There was 2 of them out here earlier.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's great. That's, for me, we're down here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
A part of the country, I come here once a year.
Right,
you know?
right.
And to see faces from our neck of the woods making the investment, it's not cheap. You know, it's not cheap to get down here. It's not cheap for you guys to set up this booth. Nothing about this looks cheap. You know,
right.
But to represent our corner of the world, you know what I mean? I think it's amazing.
Yeah,
dude.
it's great. I'm just glad we're a part of it. We sat down with Mary Beth and Sarah from the H&A.
Yep.
And the marketing end of it is amazing. You know what I mean? And that podcast, just sitting down with 2 ladies that pretty much run the show is a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one thing they taught me, it's not Louisville, it's Louisville.
Look at that. I sound like a Yankee. I'm down here with my northern. That's probably how they pick us. They pick us out of the crowd.
Exactly.
That's how we say it.
Exactly.
No,
but listen,
man.
what I want to say is thank you, because you've been a big part of this. I want to thank you and Alliance for sponsoring this podcast. It's huge for us.
100%. For me, again, it was a no-brainer. Anytime I can bet on you guys are my guys, I'm betting on my team. Also, the way you move in the Rochester market as a company, as a supplier, it's a very interesting and a very inspiring thing to watch, right? So that's the Sensenig aspect of it.
Yep.
But then the outdoor podcast, you guys are betting on yourself. I went in on that. So you remember, I went to George, and I'm like, I'm the 3rd podcast, the 4th podcast guy. I'm trying to get it. We have to sell this. These guys see the value in what you do.
Yeah,
These guys know. Yeah, and so it's a no-brainer. Obviously, you guys sell some of our products.
Yeah.
So it's one hand washes the other type scenario. But the podcast, I think the heights that this could take you guys to is just really limitless. We don't even know yet. You know what I mean? The Joe Rogan Hardscape. You know what I mean? It's big,
that's what we're hoping. That's what we're hoping.
That's it. Yeah. I think you're in position to do it. And obviously, from a corporate sponsor, that's not something I'm used to being. I've never sponsored anything. I'm not a corporate guy. You know what I mean? But this is something the company's excited about. Our owners are down here in Louisville.
Louisville.
And they're down here. They're excited to see you guys in action.
Yep.
You guys have been pumping out episodes. The funny thing about H&A is everybody down here has something they want to talk about.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
We're pushing Gator base.
Perfect.
We're really trying to, and if you go to our booth, we have this exercise set up to show you, okay, at this point, we're almost a decade in with Gator base.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you about Gator base and you're saying, oh, what's that? Everyone's heard of this. A lot of guys have used it. Some guys have used it, and then just human nature is to get back into the way they were doing it, and then they haven't gone back to it. We're trying to show you tangible numbers where we can save you time.
Right.
Current state of affairs, labor is a challenge in the industry, right?
Yep.
You know that, I know that. You could talk to anybody here from any part of the country, and I think they would share that sentiment, right?
Yep.
So Gator base is a way for us. I sell poly sand.
Right.
I sell sealers and cleaners. Those things are what they are. Gator base is innovative.
Yeah.
Man. We took the game and we shook it up and turned it on its head 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You were there. I was there. Much more difficult conversation 10 years ago.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
It was like, hey, bud, we use this many inches of bait. You know. Now we're at a place where we have competitors and we have other companies, other manufacturers producing products similar to this now.
Yep.
Because synthetic base, Gator base, our base, that we've set the groundwork for this as a product in the industry. But synthetic base is taken off.
Yeah.
If labor is going to be short,
Yep.
we have to think of ways to be more efficient. Gator base is like a shining star in that space.
And
you know?
you're making it easier for contractors, right? I mean, that's pretty much it. I was just talking to Dan from Yukon Valley, the natural stone line that we carry.
My boy. Yeah.
And it's his job and his team job to find products that are making the contractor's life easier. And this is what Gator base does.
100%. I've been on a couple jobs with Dan. One this year with our buddy Nate. We'll give Nate.
Yes,
from
I
Nate's
love
Masonry.
Nate's Masonry.
He's the GOAT, man.
Yes.
He's the GOAT. Nate had us out on a job on the lake. Not a lot of great access. We would be humping material up and down this hill back into this tight little access area. Dan helped to service Nate with the stone. I came out, we installed it together, and that's really where we shine too. Alliance has a lot of boots on the ground. We'll come out and work with you.
Yeah.
We'll take the guesswork out of, okay, it's a new product. We don't know how this works. Put that on your Alliance rep, you know. And you're spot on, dude. And that's what you guys do is if you can connect your customers. I've said this for a long time. We partner with a lot of paver manufacturers.
Yeah.
If I started listing them, I'd forget someone and I'd get in trouble. So I'll leave that. But we partner with a lot of these guys.
Yes, yeah.
And my thing is you guys should all be selling Gator base.
Right.
The more Gator base that goes down, more pavers are going down.
Right,
Because it's
right.
done in an efficient manner.
Right.
So if we can mathematically add that multiplier of how much quicker it goes on Gator base, how many more jobs can these guys, big guys, small guys, how many more jobs can they get in the ground in a given season?
Right,
you know?
right. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this Gator base and
Yep.
how it's installed.
Yep.
What's the basic installation for all these guys out here that might not have believed in it before and want to get back into it? What's your basic installation of Gator base?
So that's a perfect question, and the biggest thing is what you have to envision that 3/4 inch sheet of polypropylene.
Yep.
That 3/4 inch sheet of Gator base, that's replacing your crushed stone.
Okay.
All of it.
Yep.
So people will say, well, we work with these soils. We've tested this on all the soils.
Okay.
So if you're on topsoil, because this is a new development, new plan,
Yep.
you may have to amend that with some stone. But the vast majority of the time, that's not a concern. So we're digging down, instead of 10 inches for your
Yep.
traditional install, give or take, because guys always get into a contest of who puts the most base down, right?
Yeah, right.
But we'll say on average a 10-inch excavation. We're excavating 4 inches.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So we've cut that in more than half. How much time am I saving you by taking out less than half of the material, loading that dump truck, dump fees, taking that off site, guys stopping for their second monster and pack of smokes, you know what I mean? All that stuff, which is real. It's,
Oh, yeah,
it's
it's
very
real.
difficult to quantify, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
real. So we take that, and we cut that into 4 inches of excavation.
Yep.
And in that 4 inches, you're going to compact your native soil just like you would on a standard install.
Yep.
You're going to put down a non-woven fabric for a soil separator,
Yep.
just like you would. Nothing changes. You screed out I have 1 inch outside diameter pipes.
Yep.
You could do 3/4 inch or 1 inch of concrete bedding sand, or you guys are helping push the industry. A lot of guys moving towards the chipstone.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. That's what I was going to ask. So it's either or. It's not one or the other.
Either or. The benefit to the chipstone remains the same in a standard install.
Yeah.
It's great for drainage,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The Gator base, you'll see there's holes all over the Gator base. Each one of those holes is at 1% slope, so it's going to get rid of that water.
Yep.
You right?
Yep.
So you have that inch of bedding sand or chipstone. You put this 2 foot by 3 foot sheets, tongue and groove system, clicking them right in place. That's the other benefit that's difficult to quantify.
Yeah.
Is now, Joe, me and you are walking, if we're a 2-man crew, we start laying these pads down. It works as a snowshoe. So it has the snowshoe effect, the way it distributes the weight.
Yeah.
You're bringing me pavers. Excuse me. You're bringing me pavers. We're staging them. I'm slapping them into place. We're sliding them with our foot, as opposed to the traditional click and drop in
Yep.
your bedding sand, right? That type of efficiency is something that we're trying to hone in the numbers to show you with the excavation, less trips to the dump fees, less restaging the material because we can set it in place and move it on the base,
Yes.
right? Less re-screeding because if we got halfway through the job, we go home for the day, come back, the dog made a mockery of our bedding layer. We're stuck, right? We're
yeah.
re-screeding. So the Gator base is laid down, throw some pavers down on top of that, come back tomorrow and don't worry about it.
And I think those are the simple things,
Yep.
the little things
Yep.
that you said that you can't quantify,
Yep.
but makes a huge difference.
Yep.
When you're tiptoeing around the sand and it's raining and all this stuff, you know what I mean? It's,
And that for me is the stuff, because I come from, I'm not a numbers guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow into a numbers guy. I am a installation guy. I was a laborer. That was what I did. So I know what it takes to lay pavers.
Yep.
I can't put down the math behind how you make money off that. That was never my bag. You
Right,
know?
right.
So when I started doing this job and I started laying Gator base, again, 10 years ago, Joe, you could imagine, and you were there for it,
Yeah.
the conversation was different.
Way
I'm trying to
different.
sell somebody this thin sheet of what they're calling, at that point, that's styrofoam.
Yeah.
This ain't going to work. We're in Western New York. We put 8 inches. We put 10 inches. I get it, bro.
Yeah.
But what I tell people now is, you're not the guinea pig with
Right.
Gator base. I tell people, if this stuff didn't work the way we said it would, we'd be out of business.
Yeah.
Alliance has too big of a profile. We're out there. We're exposed. People know who we are. You can get a hold of us. There's reps in every market.
Yep.
So if Gator base there was failures, we literally, and everybody's encountered poly sand issues, sealer issues. These are things that we sell and we don't run away from.
Yep.
There's zero issues with Gator base.
Now, are you limited to the product you can use on Gator base? So let's say let's just say there's a porcelain product.
Yep.
It's 3/4 inch.
Yep.
Can you use porcelain on a Gator base, or are we pretty much stuck to a concrete paver, 2 3/8, or?
So, perfect question. Here at H&A, everywhere you look, you see a porcelain company.
Yes.
There's a lot.
Yes,
And
yeah.
some of that stuff is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Yep.
some good-looking stuff. We have, with the Gator base, implementing the Gator base, we have spacers. We have a full Gator tile system.
Wow.
The one thing I would challenge you guys, because you guys have your finger on the pulse of this,
Yep.
go around and talk to some of these porcelain tile companies. Ask them how they want you to install their porcelain tile.
Right, right.
In my experience, the conversation gets kind of dry. They say, however you... Yeah, I've been told you can lay it right on top of grass, which I'll tell you, not going to fly. I've been told, you lay it like pavers. The challenge there is you don't have the ability to do dual planes or any type of change of... Things are much more stringent
Yep.
with that porcelain tile, 3/4 inch thick.
Yep.
On Gator base, it's a very high-end professional system, and that's what you're paying for.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
putting all that money into that porcelain tile outside your home.
Yep.
You're going to want it to look like that, like you envisioned it,
Yes.
right?
So that probably would be the trickiest product to use on Gator base, and you guys already came up with a system for it.
A system designed strictly for porcelain tile, and there's 8 components to it. We have the whole system that you can get all and package that in as a system for porcelain tile.
Yeah.
Obviously, pavers, when you're talking about the companies that we work with, your Unilocks, your Teco Blocks, your Cambridge, these are companies that they produce a quality product that's within tolerance.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have an issue laying on Gator base.
Yeah.
Then you guys do a lot with the natural stone.
Yeah.
Also, very beautiful, high-end, beautiful natural stone jobs. If you have something that's cut within tolerance, lay directly on Gator base. That's what Nate's masonry, that's what we did with Nate.
Right.
The stuff was beautiful. You guys did it right. It worked out. If you're doing irregular flagstone, that's what I would say is the most challenging thing for Gator
something
base.
with different thicknesses.
Different thickness, any type of irregularities to that. You would do the same thing where we talked about excavate, tamp your native soil, fabric, bedding layer, Gator base, then you'd put a second bedding layer.
Oh, okay.
And that way you could set your natural stone and have that a bit of play to have everything sit in the way it needs to sit.
Yeah, getting back to porcelain, just because we see it, it's getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
Especially in the, everybody wants to look like, the modern Floridas, the Californias and stuff like that. They want to bring
I want that too.
Yeah, they want to bring that to the Northeast, but there's challenges, right?
Yeah.
So, Florida, California, Texas, they're doing wet set. They're pouring concrete. They're laying porcelain just like tile, as if you would inside.
Yep.
For us, you have a Gator base. What type of, instead of at the end you're grouting it, what type of poly sand, or do you guys have a poly sand that's going to be beneficial for a porcelain install?
That's a phenomenal question, because as this develops in the Northeast, we're going to have answers to these questions.
Right.
We have them now, so I feel like that is a perfect segue, because we sell the Gator Nitro.
Okay.
This is our resin-based sand. This is our resin offering. You've seen some competitors out there with these products.
Yep.
Again, like porcelain tile, you can go around this show and find multiple manufacturers for a lot of these products.
Yeah.
We have Gator Nitro,
Yep.
okay? These sands come in a bucket that's sealed off with nitrogen. You guys at Sensenig have been doing pretty well with the Nitro for us.
Yep.
It is perfect for porcelain tile. We have sold, we've dabbled in it. I have, as you know, I have a roller tamper that you can actually use on porcelain tile. I think, if we put poly sand there and we roller tamp and we make sure and we set the joint height a little bit below the surface and we water it in perfectly, it could work.
Yeah.
Poly sand has been a nightmare on porcelain tile.
It's crazy.
And man, does it suck, because you have these high-end, beautiful jobs.
Yeah.
You're not going to get away with a poly sand failure on that job. You have a 3/4 inch joint. In a lot of cases, as a 3/4 inch sheet of tile, we ask that you go a little bit below the surface of that.
Yep.
So we're cutting into that 3/4 inch. Poly sand is engineered for a paver.
Right.
It's 2 3/8 inch.
Yeah.
You got a lot thicker of a crust that, in potential, you could. Best case scenario, you got a nice 2 inch or 1.5 inch thick crust, right?
Yeah.
You simply can't get that in the porcelain tile. The Nitro, our resin-based offering, this stuff cures top to bottom. So if you got a 3/4 inch joint, you have a 3/4 inch thick crust.
Yeah.
If you had a 12 inch joint, you'd have a 12 inch crust.
That's
This
crazy.
stuff sets up rock hard,
Yep.
and it pairs beautifully with the Gator tile system,
Yep.
because the only problem with these resin products that we've seen on the market is if you have movement.
Yes.
These are rigid materials. If
Yes.
your stuff's going to move, which we can assume somewhat in the Northeast, you're going to have cracking, because you have a rigid material, where poly sand would eliminate that by giving you some flex, right?
Right.
With that Gator tile system, that sheet of Gator base is acting as a layer of insulation that's equivalent to 18 inches of stone.
Yes.
This is a protective layer from that freeze-thaw cycle that's going to prevent that movement, that Nitro being there. And to your point, it'll look like that West Coast, that indoor look.
Yeah.
It's going to have to look mint if they're going to spend that type of money on it.
Yeah.
And we know that.
And I know with a lot of designers, they're basing their, especially for that modern look, they're basing their mortar or their grout joint on colors of their tile, maybe. With the Nitro, are you limited with colors, or how many colors do you have with the Nitro?
Colors is always a tough conversation, because it seems like if we put out more colors, people say, well, you don't need all this color. If we don't have them, they say, oh, you don't have this color. It's a hilarious conversation. The big thing that we're launching down here is we have a silver. We're calling it silver.
Nice. So it's a lighter gray?
A much lighter gray.
Oh, perfect.
Because what we've had traditionally for the last couple of years is we've had beige. That's going to go for your brown,
all your earth tones.
All that.
Yep.
The beige is really your best thing. What we did at your display in Geneva was the black.
I like the black.
I love the
Dude,
black.
you know, it's so funny because I didn't like it. I didn't
Yeah.
think I was going to like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You put it in and
It's sharp,
I
man.
like it.
It's sharp.
I like it.
You get black pants, you get black sneakers, you get a black cap.
We got black sandstone caps.
You got that. That's the other thing. When
Yeah.
you start tying in other elements of the hardscape, and with these with Nitro, you can go ahead and pressure wash this.
Yeah.
So with polysand, you put a pressure washer on it, it's flying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
With Nitro, it's going to be nice and black.
Yeah.
It's a dark,
It stays
considerable
black.
It's going to stay black.
Yeah.
At your display, you got trucks coming and going. It's going to incur some dirt.
Yeah.
Get out there at the end of the season with a power washer. That's going to be black again.
Yeah.
And if you have that black cap, those black sandstone caps, dude, and you seal that again, I'm really getting it.
Right,
that,
right.
That black on black accents or features to the thing, for my money, and it's taste. Everybody's got preference.
Yeah.
For my money, that's a game changer.
Yeah, and with the polysand, it's tough, because people hem and haw about colors of polysand, whether it be tan or gray, right?
You ain't lying, bro.
But is it true that it all turns the same color in a year or two anyway, right?
And it is a matter of time.
Right.
And it's going to depend on your environment.
Yeah.
And we sell ivory polysand. You want to hear somebody complain, go install ivory polysand and wait till it starts turning green from the moss and brown from the dirt, and they paid this for ivory. The reality is like everything, this requires maintenance.
Yeah.
You want to keep that
Yeah.
ivory, we're going to clean it every year. We're going to seal it every 2 or 3 years with a nice water-based sealer, keep things protected.
Yep.
People aren't always open to that type of maintenance fee, maintenance schedule, right?
Yeah.
So your sand will go the way of what the environment around is doing.
But listen, they keep the floors in the house clean, right? You
Yeah.
just spent $100,000 outside. Why not
Yes,
keep the
Joe.
floors outside
Yes,
clean?
Joe. This is the things that this is why I feel that way. We feel that way. We're entrenched in the
But
industry.
it's up for us to teach them.
That's
you know
that's part of the thing is because teaching starts with telling them,
Yep.
but then as they push back on what you said, you got to keep inching
pushing
them
it.
towards and have that find that common ground where we can meet and say, hey, yeah, I'm not saying you have to be out here with your toothbrush every day scrubbing your pavers,
Right.
but we have to maintain these.
Yeah.
We have to maintain these.
Yeah.
So the polysand, that's a good question. The polysand's gonna realistically, what you can't do is you can't pressure wash those pavers,
Yeah.
right? You can use an efflorescence cleaner. You can seal for protection. All that helps. But your display is the perfect thing. Them trucks coming and going, kicking up dirt, kicking up dust. The reality is, what color is that polysand going to be after? But with the Nitro, you put especially, and that's why I'm excited for that black, is that's going to be a rich black
Yep.
for as long as it's going to be.
It seems
and
like
when
it.
it's not, we're going to pressure wash and it's going to come right back.
Yep. Yep.
So to me, the light gray is a nice feature. Like I said, we have beige, we have gray, we have silver, which is our light gray offering, and we have black. Covers most things. Joe, I saw a glow-in-the-dark polysand over there today. They got everything here. You know what I mean? This is like
This
the
is
Super Bowl.
Louisville.
I couldn't believe it. I'm looking at that like, this stuff glows in the dark. What are we talking about?
But that's why we're here, for the biggest
This is it.
investment.
This is it.
And a lot of things, I'm not saying that's a failure, but a lot
Sure.
of stuff come out, and it just
yeah.
this doesn't work
Goes
for
through it.
everybody, so.
The reality is, and I don't want to speak ill of that.
No,
It's the first
yeah.
time I've seen that.
Yeah.
We're not selling a. Do you
Right.
know what type of beating I would take from our contractor base if I came in with a glow-in-the-dark polysand? I can't. I don't even want to think about it. But I appreciate innovation.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
how we
yeah,
get.
yeah.
To me, when we talk about innovation. I've been in the industry not as long as you, but I feel like a veteran in the industry.
Yep.
Nothing to me, obviously I'm partial, right?
Yeah,
And there's a lot of tools, your Grabo and your Crack Hog and all these things. These are all innovative. To me, Gator Base is find something more innovative than that.
No, and it's true.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
true.
and that's really what I get excited about.
You're doing your job, just like these tool companies are doing their job to make it easier on contractors. Alliance is doing their job to make it easier on contractors as well.
And if we quit doing that, these guys are left out there. People are still, there's a lot of talk about where the economy's at and where the economy's going. And, okay, manufacturers get nervous about, everyone's worried about what the future could hold.
Yeah.
But I talk to these contractors, there's still a lot of people that have disposable income that want to invest in their home.
Yep.
COVID had this weird effect on our industry where it made people spend more on their home.
Yes.
If I'm going to be stuck at home, I don't want to look at the same four walls all day. I'm going out on that beautiful porcelain pool deck,
Yes.
So this has been a wild couple years for the industry, as everyone knows. I'm looking forward to another couple more wild years. Again, I speak locally. Locally, you guys you're the man.
Yeah.
You're the man out there.
I appreciate that.
On the bigger thing, you guys are doing this, the possibilities for this, for a manufacturer to get in an environment like this where it's not so hustle and bustle of the trade show floor, to sit down and talk about what we want to talk about. Pay Pete, I'm bet is dying to get in here. You know what I mean? And I saw his episode. He's another one. His
Dude,
episode
I
was
love
great.
that episode. And the nice thing about this is we're going to take this, whether we edit it or not, you know what I mean? It's still an educational tool. Whether it be for our local guys or national, it's providing education for your product, and not just your product, but any install. For, you know what I mean? So that's what we're trying to do here. It's just educate. I say my contractors because you know what I mean. I want to educate my contractors. You know what I mean? But everybody else as well.
And I didn't realize really until you guys came in with this. And I remember, I think the first episode that I might have saw was the Mike Conway episode.
Yes,
right?
With Empire.
And with Empire, And I watched that, and I didn't realize how much we long for content that's relatable to what we do. I didn't know I'd want a podcast on outdoor living. I didn't know. I had no idea. Saw you guys are doing it. That's cool. I'd support that. Watch that and realize if they had 100 more episodes, I'd sit here and watch them all. I'm not a big grill guy per se. I was very interested. I was very interested to let that guy get his stuff out in that social setting that you guys set up. So from a manufacturing standpoint, you keep this running, and they'll be lining up, Joe. They're going to line up.
And I still think there's one product we need to talk about too that I'm a huge fan of. We touched on Gator base. We touched on the Nitro sand. Extreme Edge. Extreme Edge for me. And we could use Snap Edge or Beast or whatever, or spikes. But for me, I really think the Extreme Edge is a home run.
It is.
You want to kind of go over that with everybody?
100%. And that part of that is to your experience in the industry. Because we put all this money, all this time, all these materials, all these labor, man hours into this very expensive, beautiful $100,000 backdoor project, right? What's the first thing to go, Joe? It's the edging. It's the edging. And we sell plastic
popping up, and the customer hates it.
Especially in Rochester, New York.
With the heaving and thawing.
What's it going to do? You got a 10-inch or a 12-inch steel spike driven into the ground. Usually that goes below your base. That's in the ground. Water gets down there, it's moving, and this beautiful job that still looks good 10 years around is encased in this wonky now plastic edging.
And they're heaving, and I get back to this because I hear about this from the contractor, right? So the contractor has a warranty for this product. Not thinking that they have to go back and take out the snap edge. And I mean, that's the last thing they want to do, right?
Absolutely.
So you hear about it all the time.
Because it's not as simple as we rip it out, we slam it back in, right?
No.
You got material that's gotten in there, you're cleaning that up. These are not necessarily billable hours now because someone feels that you shorted them on the front end. And I have a unique one in Pennsylvania, a big driveway, high profile job, and the edging is creeping now 4 years down the road. And the homeowner, when I went out there, met the contractor, we talked about putting Extreme Edge in there. And she was on the aggressive. She said, why didn't you put this in 4 years ago? And I told her I had his back. I said, we didn't have this 4 years ago. You know what I mean? I'm sure he would have. And 4 years ago, there were guys. This is derivative. This is how the industry, this is how we work. There were guys that put, they would reinforce concrete with rebar and put a concrete edge, right? We've taken that a step further. We have a poly-modified concrete mix, okay? We have the fibers that we put in there are not monolithic. A lot of the other ones, it's a monolithic fiber. So if you picture a singular strand, our fibers work off like spider webs. Everywhere that goes is protection.
So that helps the strength of it?
Helps the strength and the integrity. What you could see in a freeze-thaw market like we live in is a nice layer of Extreme Edge down. You put the soil right over top of that and grow. And if you dug into that years down the line, you could see some hairline cracks and things. It won't be structural.
Right. And now the topsoil or the finishing soil, it doesn't mess with the integrity of the edging?
Nope. Once that's set up, and then the other thing is that when you put this in, guys will ask me, how long before I can sweep polysand and tamp? I don't want to cause a thing. As soon as you're done, you can sweep polysand and tamp. So this isn't holding you up. We had originally argued this is going to be a time saver compared to plastic edging. I think that's a challenging argument. How long does it take to take a 8-foot stick of plastic and spike in every other spike.
Yeah.
How long does it take to mix this up in a wheelbarrow, trowel it out? Neither one takes long enough that I'm going to get into the man hours of it. But from a building standpoint, when we're talking about poly-modified, fiber-reinforced concrete edging, and you're talking about a stick of plastic, I'm going to win that argument. I'm just going to, and so especially, and you guys have been a leader in this, a lot of the manufacturers, paver Pete's one of these guys, that are pushing towards open graded, and we talked about that briefly. On that open graded base, you put that 10-inch, 12-inch spike, what's it doing there? There's a lot of space there. I'm not a big, strong guy. I come rip your edging out just because I want to. You know, you put that on that open graded base. I feel that you have to be using extreme edging. If you're not, you're kind of doing a disservice.
Now, is the extreme edge, is that permeable?
The extreme edge is not permeable, but in itself. But we're anticipating you use this in a permeable install.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So we got the boys from Unilock walking around here, intimidating us. What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? I have to follow Matt's footsteps. Matt was on here earlier.
Matt was on here earlier. Did a good job.
Great stuff.
So extreme edge.
Extreme edge all day on your permeables. Extreme edge anywhere your plastic edges are failing. Extreme edge to teach your crew the new installation methods that are going to shape the way this industry progresses in the next 10, 20, 30, and beyond. Right?
Now, for a contractor, what about cost? Like, how far does a bucket of extreme edge take you? And what is that cost comparison to maybe a snap edge that might be a buck a lineal foot or something like that?
So when you get into our extreme edge comes in a bag. So it comes in the 50-pound bag. You put them on pallets like the polysand. You're getting out of that. You're getting a good 12-foot stick. Cost is fairly comparable. You're not going to be in a situation where you're saying, "Oh, we're wasting all this money on this." It's going to be very comparable. And then at the end of the day, like we said, especially on those permeables. I'm at the point now with having seen some of these plastic edging failures that we see on a permeable install, and I don't mean to. I'm telling guys, you got to change. You should be embarrassed about it. This is something to be embarrassed about. You can't do this here. You know what I mean? So the extreme edge is the solution to that. For sure.
So
and I'm glad you brought that up.
And you guys got a lot of new products for 2023. Is there anything new that I don't know about that's coming, a big surprise or anything over at your booth?
Thank God not. I'm ready for a couple of years to settle into what we got. And that is the thing, is Alliance is a innovator. They're pushing the industry forward. That's why I've been here, Joe, going on 9 years. So you've known me the whole time. There's a lot of opportunities that I'm not really looking for anything. I'm very happy here because this is a company that keeps us challenged, right? So currently, no. Currently, we have things like the silver Nitro, right? The Extreme's only a couple years old.
I'm excited about that.
You'll like it. You'll like it. And we'll put it right next to that black to give the contrast at your display. So we have those things. My guys always bust my chops. They say, "When's G3 coming?" I say, I hope to be around here for it. You know what I mean? I hope to be around for it. But it's the poly sand is a thing that it's a tough argument a lot of times where in Western New York, environment plays a role. You know where they don't have any poly sand issues is in Arizona and Texas, and things are nice. We have a lot of challenges. That's where the Nitro's a product. We have to do the homework. We have to figure out which product is going to work the best.
Right.
You know?
And for me, still, I mean, obviously, we sell a lot of G2 complete.
You sure do.
You know what I mean? Tractor trailer,
which I appreciate.
So again, we ran through maybe some, and not just you, but your competition. Maybe 3, I would say 3-4 years ago, had some problems with poly sand and hazing and maybe not setting up. But for me, that's all in the past. That's all in the past.
It is, and a big part of it. So us, along with other manufacturers, changed and innovated the way polysand worked. Polysand worked one way 10 years ago. Polysand works a very different way now. In that changing of the guard there was a lot of shortcomings on getting, we talked about it already, the education piece to this, Joe. That's why this is important. That's why, because someone doesn't have to sit down and listen to this at a certain time. Listen to this whenever. When you're in the car driving to that next estimate, you could put this on. So the education piece, maybe we came up short on that. Because that 3 years ago, these are new products, new installation methods. Guys the conversation I'd have is, I've been doing this for years. That could work against you in this case.
Oh, yeah.
But again, where we pride myself, I looked at that year, 2019 was a challenge, right?
Yeah.
I was going to have people yelling at me about this, and we were going to go through it together.
Yep.
And my goal was to come out on the other side where we had that interaction, and now we're friends, laughing, high-fiving on the next one, and it works great.
Yeah.
The things you can do to stack your favor, odds in your favor, and Chris and I always debate on this, compaction.
Yeah.
You sweep your polysand, it needs to be compacted. Guys will tell me, oh, these slabs you can't compact. I'll say, get you a roller compactor.
Yeah.
You know, get on your knees with, stick a piece of Gator paste for knee pads and hand tamp it with a dead blow.
Yeah.
You know, that compaction, what we've found is without compaction, that joint on a paver is 30 to 50% void of any sand.
Yeah.
So you can't ask me why my polysand's not working if you're missing 50% of it.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're saying, give us a 45-second tutorial on how to do polysand complete, regular polysand complete.
Yep.
You're done with your pavers.
Yep.
You're ready to do what? Do you tamp your pavers next, or do you polysand first?
Yep. And so that's a debate. A lot of people are tamping first to set that bedding layer.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
That's okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
That's where you get your interlock, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Other people will simultaneously tamp your polysand in while tamping your bedding layer.
Okay.
Both are fine. My thing is that we can't skip the step of the polysand goes in. And what I do, Joe, I sweep the polysand, and I leave some on the thing. I'm not worried about this. Isn't the final sweep. I run that tamper over.
Yeah.
I usually use it if I'm working with a guy. I make sure I grab the tamper. That roller tamper runs like a dream.
Yes.
It's easy. I'm catching my breath while these guys are pushing the broom. So I tamp that in. They then go over everywhere we tamped. Refill those joints. I fill them high again because I'm tamping a second time.
Okay.
On an open graded base, you'll go mad. You could tamp 100 times. It'll keep dropping in there, and I'll keep selling truckloads of polysand. but I like to tamp 2 times.
Yeah.
Sweep it, tamp it.
Yep.
Sweep it, tamp it. Now I'm coming back with a stiff bristle broom and sweeping, because the other thing that people get in trouble with is you don't want the polysand flush with your paver.
Right.
You don't want the nitro sand flush.
It
You don't
has
want
like
anything.
a little chamfer on the paver. You almost want to sit.
Exactly.
Yeah, right at the start of that chamfer.
An eighth of an inch below that chamfer is the perfect place. People will say, well, my customer wanted it. You have to educate your customer.
Right.
If it's flush with your paver, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's going to be taking abrasion from general foot traffic, any furniture that's getting you're going to degrade that polysand. If it's an eighth of an inch below, it's protected.
Right.
We put a 15-year warranty. 15-year warranty. I repeat that. People think I'm crazy. When installed right, you'll get there.
Yeah.
It'll be dirty. There might be some moss growing there. That polysand will be there.
Yeah.
Because it's
With a
tamped
proper
in there.
installation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's watered in. The other thing is you get, we get into underwatering, overwatering. If you're watering this thing and you say, because it used to be, it was a mist, a rinse.
Yeah.
This is different, you know.
Now, are we doing the 30-second shower
30
for 30
30
square feet?
Joe, people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. They don't.
30 for 30.
Oh, yeah, okay. 30 for, or when I do it, when I show them what 30 seconds looks like,
Right.
This guy's a madman.
So you
know
got
what I
it
mean?
on shower.
Shower
30
setting.
square feet for 30 seconds.
You're not going to overwater this
Right.
polysand. You're
Right.
not. So you're going to soak it down. The further that water penetrates that joint, the thicker of a crust you're going to get. So then you have your options. We've talked about nitro. You can use nitro.
Right.
But if you're doing polysand, right, and it's the middle of June, I use polysand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Nitro's great for, we're getting into the season where, okay, we can't get any dry weather. We're in Rochester.
Yeah.
When's it going to be dry next,
Right.
Joe?
It's a great option.
June? Yeah.
Right now, yep.
Nitro is perfect for that. I'm not, all those truckloads of polysand, I'm not replacing those with nitro.
No, yeah.
This is, because the other thing is small jointed material.
Yeah, right.
And so there's still going to be places for polysand, but if I could say 3 things to stack the odds in your favor to have polysand success, you're tamping, you're eighth of an inch below, and water the ever-loving heck out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you put all that water on there, that's going to set, you're going to get a nice thick crust. That polysand will last.
Yeah.
You know? And it's the same thing I say with the Gator base. We sell too much of this stuff. We're too visible in too many markets.
Yep.
If this stuff was failing on a big picture with proper installation, wouldn't be here, Joe.
Right.
I'd be here in a different pool, though, trying to talk to you about something else, trying to sell you a grill, you know? But it is dude, it's an honor to sit down and talk with you. I could do this all day.
Oh, we
Joe.
could do this
we
all
could shoot
day.
a 4-hour episode right now.
You know, it's funny you say that because, listen, you can come to our location, you get 30, 40 guys, right? But there's thousands of guys that don't come to our location, right? So now you try to reach them on a podcast. Not everybody's on a podcast, but you know what I mean? If we can have different avenues to teach these contractors, the better off me and you are, the
100%.
better off the customer is. You know what I mean?
And ultimately, that's what a lack of knowledge can really hinder an industry.
Yes.
A lack of knowledge can leave customers unsatisfied.
Yep.
And then whose sister-in-law is going to call to have pavers installed if her sister's furious? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So these are, the lack of knowledge is so key. Alliance, like I talk about the innovation at Alliance.
Yep.
The second piece that is very impressive to me, it's similar to what you guys do. We hone in on the education.
Yeah.
I want to talk, and you can see it on their face, Joe.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are looking at me like, hey, still talking about porcelain. Okay, here we go. What we got? Other guys are like, okay, so 1/8 of an inch below the chamfer. Well, if it's, and they have questions.
Right.
This is where I get excited.
Yeah.
I get excited to have these conversations.
Yeah.
This is my livelihood.
Right,
This is what I
right.
do for a living.
Yep.
So if I can have, and that's why H&A is so much fun.
I know.
You know, this is like, everybody here wants to talk about the stuff I like to talk about, you know? So, but that education piece from your end, from our end, the more we educate, you hit on it. There's some big benefits to that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Joe, we work with the same contractors.
Yes.
I want to help those guys.
Right.
I like those guys.
Right.
I'm a big believer in small business. Our country is built on the back of small businesses.
Yep.
So if I can support a guy like Van Putty, or I can support a guy like CG, or any of these guys, Nate's Mason, if I can support those guys, I'll do anything I can. You know what I mean? And that's where it's nice. It's bold for me to say that. I'm just AJ.
No.
I got the power of Alliance behind me.
Yeah.
You or Joey, you got the power of Sensenig behind you. We have a driving force that we are in a position to help these guys. I'm honored to do that.
Yeah, and you're supporting them just like you do with us. And I just want to say thank you to you, your team, sponsoring the Outdoor Project podcast. Dude, it's beautiful. We appreciate it. The owners of Sensenig's Landscape Supply appreciate it, man.
Yes,
and I
sir.
know you got my back.
Absolutely, Joe. The owners of Alliance are hanging out here watching us. You know, I got some nerves all of a sudden. I got real nervous in here. But yeah, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you guys in every aspect that we work with you. I'm excited to see where this goes, brother.
Dude, you're such a professional. I appreciate it.
I guess. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.